Discover how 100 heartwarming frontier families amazingly protected their cabins overnight. As dark clouds gathered over Elk Hollow, a sense of urgency filled the air, wrapping tightly around the town like a thick fog. The annual summer fair seemed distant now, overshadowed by the storm brewing in the sky and the hearts of its people. Jenny, a dedicated schoolteacher and single mother, stood at the edge of the town hall, her chest tightening with worry. This was no ordinary storm. It carried with it fears of loss and division among the families she cherished dearly. Memories flickered through Jenny's mind like the strobe of a fading lantern, the laughter, the celebrations, the shared picnics by the river. Now, whispers of economic despair tainted those cherished moments, making bright futures feel uncertain. Outside, children played beneath tense skies, their laughter echoing while shadows loomed all around them. Jenny couldn't shake the feeling that this year's fair would be different, maybe even the last of its kind. Voices painted a bleak picture inside the rustic town hall. Concerned townsfolk huddled in tension, discussing property values and uncertain futures. Jenny felt hope slipping through her fingers. "We can prepare for the storm together," she called out, her voice strong despite the anxiety knotting her stomach. The room fell silent, eyes wide, some hopeful, others furrowed with frowns. The crowd erupted, some with outrage at the change, others wary of rekindling old grudges. "We don't have time for this," a neighbor shouted, while another chimed in, recalling past disputes. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The storm threatened to tear their town apart even before the winds howled. Outside, the rain began to fall in sheets, tapping violently against windows, each droplet an even larger worry. Jenny's heart raced as she watched families scatter, some helping their own, others standing stubbornly apart, fists in pockets. Yet amidst the chaos, a colorful group emerged, veterans raised from their chairs, elders drawing on lifetimes of wisdom, and young adults fueled by youthful fervor. They began constructing barricades and filling sandbags, hands hard at work, uniting against nature's fury. At the center of the effort was Jenny, leading with compassion, as she saw all their differences wash away like the worries that raged around them. They found each other, neighbors forming bonds stronger than a steel chain. However, just when it seemed the community might rally, a letter harshly fell from an old jacket pocket, revealing secrets long buried, a name tied to tragedy, a knot of pain drifting to the surface. With the winds howling and emotions flaring, friendships faltered as they faced the buried truths that threatened to tear them apart. In that moment, Jenny knew she had to confront her own biases and fears. Time was running thin, and the tempest outside was nothing compared to the storm within. Could Elk Hollow find a way to rise together, or would the past sins drown them under the rising tide? The questions lingered heavily in the air, an invitation for hope and reconciliation, or perhaps the start of deeper division. The storm's roar seemed to echo the turmoil inside the town hall, where tension crackled like electricity. Jenny looked around, seeing the faces of her neighbors twisted with fear and anger. She felt a warmth on her arm. It was Lucy, the town baker, offering silent support. The small connection fortified Jenny's resolve. "Please, listen," Jenny pleaded, stepping forward. "We can't let our old grudges come between us now." Her voice rose above the chaos, holding a thread of desperation. She caught the eyes of the crowd, searching for the flicker of hope. "If we don't work together, we're risking more than just our homes. We're risking our community." A murmur swept through the room. Families glanced at one another, uncertainty painted on their faces. But then, across the hall, a familiar face spoke up. Mark, her childhood friend turned rival. "And what if it's all for nothing?" he challenged, arms crossed. What happens when this storm passes and we still can't pay our bills? His words struck a chord. The raw reality of their shared struggles gnawed at Jenny. But what if we don't give up? What if we find a way through this together? The sincerity in her voice rang true. In heartbeats, she reminded them of their picnic days, the elders' stories of innovation and resilience. We've weathered storms before. Let us dig deep, reach back, and remember who we are. As if on cue, the storm outside intensified, wind shrieking through crevices, rattling glass and minds alike. The once lively voices hushed, but a glimmer of solidarity sparked among them. A woman in the back whispered, "Maybe we do need each other." With newfound determination, Lucy raised her hand. "How about we split into teams? We each take an area, help our neighbors who need it most right now. There's strength in numbers." One by one, murmurs turned into nods, then voices ringing in agreement. Mark was the first to embrace the idea, his incredulous smile hinting at an old friendship. "All right, let us do it." That spark ignited a fire within the room. They broke into groups, organizing supplies, checking on the elders, and gathering food. In every act of kindness, they began to illuminate paths to healing. Families came together, bridging past tensions while the storm outside raged, but just as they began to feel a sense of unity, realization hit Jenny like a bolt of lightning. She remembered the letter, who it belonged to, and the truth it held. "Wait!" she shouted, eyes wide. The room fell into another hush. Faces turned towards her, a mix of curiosity and dread settling in. "That letter, it's not just a piece of paper. It can change everything for us." The collective breath held tightly, an unspoken understanding among them that this could mean a reckoning of their differences or a tipping point for unity. "Are you ready to uncover the truth?" Jenny's heart thumped loudly in her chest. Would this revelation bring them closer, or tear them apart? As the storm continued to unleash its fury outside, the fight for their community lingered inside, hanging on the edge of an unknown cliff, ready to dive into secrets that could either heal or harm Elk Hollow forever. The weight of Jenny's proclamation hung in the air like the storm clouds overhead. She could feel every eye on her, a mix of scrutiny and what-ifs swirling among the crowd. Mark shifted uneasily, drawing her gaze. "What do you mean, change everything?" he asked, breaking the silence, the skepticism still clinging to his voice. "That letter," she thought, the one she found tucked away in her grandmother's attic. It felt like a ghost from the past, holding untold power in its words. "It belonged to my grandmother. She mentioned something about a community fund, something that could help us," Jenny replied, her voice steadying. Among the crowd, whispers erupted. A community fund? It felt like a lifeline tossed into turbulent waters. Lucy squeezed Jenny's arm, her eyes wide with curiosity. "So, we might be able to save our homes?" "I don't know exactly, but it could be more than just a lifeline," Jenny continued, urgency flowing through her. "If we can pool our resources, we could really support one another, get through this storm and beyond." Mark stepped forward, arms dropping to his sides, his previous skepticism softening. "And what if this fund is just a myth? What if we're pinning our hopes on something that's not even real?" "Maybe so," Jenny replied, her heart racing, but she didn't back down. "But what happens if it is real? What if we don't even look? This is our community, our lives. If we don't at least explore the option, then we're giving up." Her voice rang clear, cutting through the uncertainty like sunlight. The crowd began to stir again, voices rising with a mix of doubt and growing hope. "Let us find it then," a man from the back called out, raising his hand. "What do we have to lose?" Another shout of agreement rippled through the room. With new purpose lighting up their faces, Lucy and others gathered around Jenny. "Where do we start?" Lucy asked, eyes fixed on Jenny as though she were the anchor their ship desperately needed. "There must be clues in the letter," Jenny said, her mind racing. "Or even in my grandmother's old journals. She always knew the history of our families, the stories of how we built this town. Then let us split into pairs and search, Mark suggested, stepping ahead. Some of us can head to your place, and the rest can talk to the older folks. They might have extra information. Jenny couldn't believe how quickly they had turned from a room of division into one of action. The storm outside rumbled louder, yet the energy within the town hall seemed to counter it. While the groups formed and scattered, Jenny felt a mix of gratitude and trepidation. This fragile alliance depended on trust, which had been so easily fractured in the past. As pairs set off, her heart pounded. "Are you ready to face the truth in those letters?" she murmured, looking at Lucy, who nodded back with a determined smile. The storm seemed to shift as they left town hall, the winds howling, but now they had a purpose, a glimmer of a chance to reclaim something lost. Would they find the truth Jenny sought, and would it heal or hurt their community even more? As they reached her grandmother's home and began sifting through memories, the question lingered, could confronting their past really reshape their future? With every creak of the floorboards beneath, a new storm was brewing, and Jenny could only hope that whatever lay ahead was worth the risk. The air inside the house was stale, thick with the scent of dust and forgotten memories. Jenny pushed the door open, the familiar creak feeling like a long-lost welcome. As she and Lucy stepped inside, the weight of their task settled on Jenny's shoulders. She took a deep breath, gathering her courage. "Where do we start?" Lucy's voice broke through her thoughts, pulling her back to the moment. The room felt like a time capsule, with her grandmother's old quilts folded neatly on the couch and family portraits hanging crookedly on the walls. Jenny's heart twinged with nostalgia. "The attic," she said, leading Lucy through the dimly lit rooms. "That's where I found the letter. There might be more stuff up there." They climbed the narrow stairs, each step creaking. The attic door was heavy, embossed with memories trapped inside. With a push, it swung open, revealing a treasure chest of old boxes and furniture draped in sheets. Dust motes floated around them as they entered, transforming the light into a soft glow. Jenny immediately headed toward an old trunk. She knelt before it, her fingers trembling as she fumbled with the latch. "This is it," she whispered, lifting the lid. Inside, there were stacks of yellowed papers tied with twine, faded photographs, and objects that whispered stories of yesteryears. Lucy sat beside her, equally enraptured. "What's that?" she asked, pointing to a bundle sticking out from beneath a pile of clothes. Jenny pulled it out. It was a journal, its leather cover cracked with age. Her heart raced at the thought of what it might contain. "This is my grandmother's journal," she said, brushing off the dust. She wrote everything down, all the things that mattered. As they began flipping through the pages, a mix of emotions washed over Jenny. Each entry revealed snippets of her grandmother's life, an unwavering spirit, determination, and love for their community. Suddenly, a loose sheet fluttered out, and Jenny caught it before it could drop to the floor. It was dated decades ago, speaking of a community gathering where they established support for each other during tough times. "Lucy, look!" she exclaimed, her voice barely a whisper as she skimmed the words. "They created a fund to help families keep their homes. It's real." "Wow, that's incredible." Lucy leaned closer, excitement lighting up her features. "This could be the clue we need. But how do we find out where the fund came from?" Jenny's mind raced. She must have written about it somewhere else, accounts, letters, anything. As they dug deeper into the trunk, inching further into Jenny's family legacy, the tension of the outside storm receded slightly. The attic felt like a sanctuary from the chaos below, allowing the warmth of hope to settle in. Suddenly, a loud thump echoed from downstairs, jolting them from their reverie. Their hearts skipped a beat. "What was that?" Lucy looked frightened. I don't know." Jenny felt unease creep up her spine. Were they truly alone? A glance out the window revealed a sharp flash of lightning cutting through the dark sky. They hesitated, caught between the unknown of the journal's secrets and the uncertainty of what lay below. Would the truth that might save their community walk hand in hand with danger? As Jenny clutched the journal tighter, her heart thudded painfully. Would the weight of the past help them forge a future? Ready or not, they had to face whatever awaited them at the bottom of those stairs. Jenny swallowed hard, feeling a surge of resolve. Let us go see what that was together. And as they stepped cautiously toward the trapdoor, the whisper of the journal lingered in her mind, reminding her, sometimes, unlocking the past requires confronting fears that loom just out of sight. The trapdoor creaked open, and as Jenny descended the stairs, the funky smell of dampness mixed with the faint aroma of lingering old wood hit her like a wave. Lucy followed close behind, her small hand brushing against the banister, which felt slick with moisture. The chill of the air swept through the narrow hallway. With each step, the thump from downstairs echoed loudly in their ears. It made the darkness seem even heavier as they moved through the dim light filtering from an aging bulb on the wall. What if it's just the wind? Lucy whispered, trying to stifle her own fear. Yeah, the wind, Jenny murmured, but she could feel her heart racing in her chest. It was just them and the shadows. As they reached the bottom, the living room bathed in soft illumination revealed nothing unusual. It felt both familiar and foreign. Each piece of furniture seemed to hold a story that Jenny couldn't quite grasp yet. She turned to Lucy, trying to breathe through the tightness building in her throat. Maybe we should check the windows. Just then, a small movement caught her eye. There, in the corner, an old rocking chair swayed slightly, as if performing a dance with the invisible echoes of the past. Jenny's heart plummeted. Did you see that? Lucy nodded, wide-eyed. What if someone is here with us? It was silly, she thought. They were alone. But the letter, the journal, this was about making things right, about reaching back into history and reclaiming what their family had lost. They had to be brave. They moved cautiously toward the chair. Maybe it's just the house settling, Jenny tried to convince herself, though the memory of the lightning flashing earlier still left her shaken. At the rocking chair, Lucy knelt down to peek underneath. Before Jenny could call out for her to stop, the floor creaked loudly, making them both jump. There! Lucy shouted, pointing at a glint of metal. It was an old locket, caked in dust. Jenny reached down, the metal cool against her fingers as she pulled it from the floor and wiped it clean. The small heart-shaped pendant was engraved with the initials EM. She felt a sudden rush of warmth cupping the locket in her palm. She couldn't shake the sensation that she'd just uncovered a piece of her grandmother's story. I think it belonged to Grandma, Jenny said, glancing at Lucy. Evelyn Morgan. She always wore it when she was alive. Do you think it holds a secret? Lucy's eyes sparkled with curiosity. Maybe. The thought lingered in the air like a question yet to be answered. But we have to find out more about her life, about the fund. There has to be something maybe in the other rooms. Just as they turned away from the chair, the sound of shuffling footsteps echoing outside made them freeze in place. Their breath caught in their throats, and both girls glanced at each other, eyes wide. Did you hear that? Lucy whispered. What if it's someone who knows about the fund? Just then, another loud bang resounded, this time closer, like it was coming from the back door. Their only escape route, Jenny's heart raced. Were they about to come face to face with a ghost of their past, or was someone really here? Questions flooded her mind as they both quietly moved toward the back of the house, a wave of adrenaline shooting through her veins. Would they have the courage to unveil the truth, no matter what it held? With every step, the pulse of uncertainty drove them forward. Was this the moment they had been waiting for, or something that would shatter them completely? They reached the door, the handle cold beneath Jenny's palm. Was she ready to face what lay behind it? Jenny felt a shiver run up her spine, the cold metal handle sending a jolt through her hand. With a firm grip, she steadied her breath, exchanging a worried glance with Lucy. Fear clung to the corners of the room, tightening around them. The echoes of the house danced in her mind, reminding her of stories laden with mystery. Maybe we should wait? Lucy suggested, her voice trembling slightly. But the urge to know, to uncover the truth lurking behind that door, was too strong. No. We need to see who or what is out there, Jenny whispered back, her voice steadying against the fear suffocating the air. They needed to take back the narrative of their grandmother's life. They deserved to know the secrets hidden within these walls. Taking a deep breath, she twisted the handle, bracing herself. The door muffled her movement, but with a soft click, it creaked open. Darkness loomed on the other side, spilling into the light like a thick fog. The distant rumble of thunder added an ominous beat to their pulsating heartbeats. "Simon," Jenny urged, stepping cautiously beyond the threshold. She could feel the tremor of Lucy's small hand clutching her arm tightly, seeking comfort as they edged out onto the porch. The world outside held a chilling stillness, disturbed only by the whisper of wind rustling through the trees. Just as they settled into the quiet, something shifted in the shadows. Was it merely a branch snapping, or something more? "Let's check around," Jenny said, her voice barely above a whisper. She led the way, her breath escaping in hurried puffs as they made their way down the narrow path that led from the porch toward the old barn in the distance. Each crackle of twigs beneath their feet made them jump, the darkness around them closing in tighter. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught Jenny's eye, a figure darting toward the barn. Her heart raced wildly, anxiety coursing through her veins. "Did you see that?" she whispered, turning to Lucy, whose face was pale. What is that?" Lucy asked, her eyes wide with trepidation. "I don't know, but we have to find out," Jenny replied. The locket felt heavy in her pocket, an anchor tethering her to her grandmother's past. Whatever spirits haunted this place would not stop them now. They crept closer to the barn, determined to unearth whatever awaited them inside. What if it was a ghost, trapped and unsure? Or perhaps a piece of their family history, hidden from time? The combination of worry and excitement ignited a spark deep within Jenny's chest. Heritage and hidden truths were laid before them, waiting. As they approached, the barn door suddenly swung open, revealing a dim light glowing from inside. Shadows danced along the walls, moving as if alive, like the past itself caught in the act of unveiling its secrets. "What now?" Lucy asked, her voice trembling slightly. Jenny took another steadying breath, her heart swelled with a mix of fear and curiosity. "We find out who's in there and what they're hiding." As they stepped over the threshold, the air thickened with anticipation, a sense of something momentous about to unfold. In that moment, they shared a single heartbeat, both terrified and excited, but they would soon realize the mysteries held in that old barn could change everything they thought they knew. What lay inside would not only reveal the truths of their grandmother's past but also challenge everything about who they were meant to be. As they crossed the threshold, an unexpected voice echoed through the barn. "You shouldn't be here." The words hung in the air, shattering their resolve. Both girls froze, eyes wide, hearts racing, gripped by a dread that felt like the weight of ages pressing upon them. Jenny's heart thundered in her chest. The voice belonged to a figure cloaked in shadows, grounded in the darkness of the barn. Her instinct screamed at her to retreat, to tell Lucy to turn back, but curiosity had fanged its claws deeply into her courage. Next to her, she could sense Lucy's hesitation. The tightening grip on her arm spoke volumes. Fear held her tight. "Who are you?" Jenny managed to call out, trying to steady her voice, though it quivered slightly, betraying her a bit. The figure stepped forward, revealing only a glimmer of a face shrouded in a wide-brimmed hat. "I said you shouldn't be here," the figure repeated, each word echoing through the barn like a bell tolling a warning. With every passing second, the air grew thicker, every breath felt like it came from a place far away. "Why?" Jenny asked, desperation lacing her tone. There was a connection here. The urgency in her heart demanded answers, even in the face of potential danger. "This place holds more than you know," the figure replied, their voice gravelly and drenched with unspoken stories. "It remembers, and it remembers you." Jenny's mind raced. Memories of her childhood flooded back, her grandmother's tales of the barn, the old family secrets, the whispered warnings. But how could this stranger know? "Back away," the figure warned, stepping closer into the faint light, revealing more of their silhouette. It was an older man, the deep lines on his weathered face hinting at years spent living a hard life. What you're looking for can consume you. Trust me. You don't want to unearth those ghosts. Lucy's breath quickened as she whispered, "Jenny, I think we should go." The urgency in her voice anchored Jenny for a moment. The girl wanted to turn back, to flee from whatever harbored in that barn. But something deeper gripped Jenny, the longing for closure, for understanding. "I have to know. I have to understand what my grandmother left behind," she replied, meeting Lucy's fear with determination. "We can't walk away now. Not after all we've come for." The man seemed to regard her with a mix of sadness and urgency. "It's not just about your grandmother anymore. There are forces in motion that you don't fathom." Jenny couldn't help but shiver at his words. A flicker of doubt crossed her mind, but she pushed it aside. Could it be true? A pull from the past was guiding her, whether it was right or wrong. What kind of forces? She asked, her voice barely a whisper as she stepped deeper into the barn. His expression darkened as he took another step forward. "The truth is a double-edged sword, it can cut deep. Are you prepared for what you might find within?" "What do you mean?" Lucy cried, her panic rising again. But before an answer could emerge, the barn door slammed shut behind them with a forceful bang, echoing ominously in the darkness. The sudden sound jolted them, and the glow behind the man flickered ominously. Shadows danced wildly, bouncing off the walls and swirling around them. "Now you are trapped. You have to decide." He paused, letting the gravity of his words hang heavily in the air. "Are you ready to face the truth?" Jenny's heart pounded violently, a tempest of emotions swirling inside her. She sensed they were on the brink of something great, and terrifying. The past loomed larger than they ever expected. "Lucy, we have to stay," she urged, but the uncertainty between them quelled her resolve. What had begun as a search for the family's legacy might turn into a fight for their very selves. As the shadows thickened, Jenny locked eyes with Lucy, both fearful and resolute. What awaited them would shake the very foundation of who they were. "Are you ready?" she asked Lucy, as the darkness closed in, trapping them in a space where secrets and truths collided. With a single breath, they stepped forward together into the unknown. What they discovered would change everything, but would they be able to handle it? The darkness swallowed them as they moved forward, each step echoing in the hollow space like a heartbeat. The man's presence loomed behind them, a shadow among shadows, but the need for answers propelled Jenny ahead. She could sense Lucy wavering, her friends' breaths came rapid and shallow. "Maybe we should listened," Lucy muttered, her voice barely rising above the whisper of the wind creeping through the barn's crevices. "What if this is a mistake?" Jenny slowed, taking a breath to steady herself. "If we leave now, we might never know. This is our chance to find out what really happened." She wished she could summon more courage, but guilt gnawed at her for pulling Lucy along this path. "Are you sure?" Lucy's eyes darted around the unfamiliar shadows. "What if those ghosts, what if they want more than just stories?" The man, still hidden in the half-light, cleared his throat. "The truth often comes with a steep price, young ones. But if you seek it, you must be prepared for the cost." Jenny held her breath. This wasn't just about her grandmother anymore, this was a chance to confront the family history she had skirted around her entire life. "What does it cost?" Her voice edged on defiance. "The truth can shatter bonds," he replied simply, both a warning and an invitation. "Are you willing to risk your trust in each other for a glimpse at the past?" Lucy stepped closer to Jenny, her voice trembling. "But what if that truth changes everything?" Jenny felt the weight of her friend's words sink deep into her chest. It dawned on her, this could tear them apart. Images of childhood laughter and summer picnics flickered in her mind, a time when curiosity was fearless and friendship was unbreakable. She took a step further into the dark. "I can't turn back. I need to understand why this place is haunting me." The old man nodded gravely. You have to be certain. Once you open that door, there's no going back. You will see things that challenge everything you know. The air around them felt charged, and Jenny could feel a palpable energy woven into the fabric of the barn. It beckoned her, promising secrets buried in the dust of forgotten memories. If it's meant to bring us to light, then let us face it together. Together? Lucy echoed, uncertainty etched in her features. Yes, Jenny affirmed, locking eyes with Lucy, trying to convey her intent. Whatever happens, we face it together. No matter what. As if her words ignited an unseen flame, the barn began to shift around them. The shadows twisted and reformed, creating shapes that danced along the walls. The light flickered once more, revealing fragments of the past, a glimpse of a girl with braids laughing, a family gathered around a wooden table. Momentary flashes, like pieces of a puzzle begging to be completed, glimmers of sadness and joy merged with a chilling undertone that sent shivers racing down Jenny's spine. What did these images mean? Were they memories or something worse? One bold step after another, Jenny felt a pulse beneath the floor, a heartbeat echoing in rhythm with her own. Can you feel it? She whispered, almost afraid to disturb the moment. Feel what? Lucy asked, her voice taut with tension. The history, it's alive, Jenny replied, breathless. We're not just learning about the past. We're stepping into it. The old man sighed, a sound of both resignation and knowing. You have made your choice, then. Be prepared for the consequences. As the shadows surged forward, enveloping them like a thick fog, Jenny's heart raced with the intensity of the unknown. They were hurtling towards a truth that could rip their world apart, but what if, amidst all the chaos, they found something profoundly beautiful that would bind them even closer? The images around them began to solidify, unveiling an old, ornate trunk, dust-ridden yet majestic. The barn held its breath, waiting for them to decide, would they dare to open it? In that moment, the flickering light cast a shivering glow over the trunk's latch, and Jenny could almost hear it calling her name. Lucy. She whispered, uncertainty threading through her voice. What if we find something more than we bargained for? As they stood on the precipice of the decision, the echoes of their past seeped into the present, and a question lingered, heavy with the promise of change. Would they dare uncover the truth, knowing it could alter everything about who they are? As the last flicker of light settled on the trunk, a heavy silence cloaked the barn, the air thick with expectancy. Jenny and Lucy exchanged glances, their hearts pounding not just from fear but an undeniable sense of thrill. This could be the moment that defined them if they were brave enough to seize it. What if it's empty? Lucy's voice quivered, fighting against the whirlpool of fear and curiosity. What if it's just a trap? And what if it holds everything we've been searching for? Jenny countered, her voice stronger now. The stubborn ember of hope burned brighter in her chest. Ignoring Lucy's apprehension, she reached for the latch, guiding her trembling fingers over the ornate design etched into the trunk. Wait, Lucy blurted, panic bubbling to the surface. What if we regret this? What if we can't go back? But Jenny was already lifting the latch, a soft click resonating in the tense air. There was a sudden rush of wind, making her fight to keep her balance. The shadows seemed to pull back, almost as if they were holding their breath along with her. We're not guaranteed anything, Lucy. But to live without knowing that's worse. With a swift tug, the lid creaked open. Dust danced in the air, illuminated by the flickering light, and inside lay a heap of yellowed papers, a necklace glinting dully, and a small, framed photograph. Jenny's pulse quickened as she picked up the picture. It was a family faces she recognized. Her grandmother, younger than she had ever seen her, stood proudly in the middle, flanked by children laughing, joy radiating from their smiles. Jenny's heart ached at the sight. Look, she whispered, showing Lucy. This is your grandmother, Lucy interrupted, eyes widening. But these kids, are they your relatives? Yeah, Jenny mused, tracing a finger over the glass, her thoughts spiraling. She felt an invisible thread pull her to this moment, to those joyful faces. But then it hit her. What if this was before the fire? Before everything changed? Their adventure wasn't just about unearthing secrets, it was about understanding loss, too. The past whispered through the barn, stronger now. Each item seemed to index a life lead, filled with laughter that soon melted into tragedy. These are not just memories, Jenny murmured. They're lifelines, connections. Okay, we have to know more, Lucy said, her voice steadier. What was their story? What happened to them? The trunk held more than the weight of forgotten objects, it carried the essence of lives intertwined with Jenny's. She lifted the necklace, an intricate silver piece that somehow felt like a talisman of destiny. Without thinking, she put it around her neck. Jenny, wait! Lucy's warning was too late. As the necklace settled against her skin, a sudden rush flooded through Jenny. Images flashed: her grandmother dancing, sweet aromas wafting through the air, laughter resonating. Then the brightness faded into darkness, replaced by frantic cries and flames licking at the sky. Lucy grabbed Jenny's arm, panic seizing her. What just happened? She gasped. I saw something, Jenny stammered, heart racing. The disconnect between the warmth of the past and the cold of that violent moment left her breathless. The truth was not just about uncovering the past, it was about facing the hurt that lingered in its shadows. As they stood engulfed in the remnants of a time long gone, the old man's voice rang in Jenny's ears, a warning echoing with fierce clarity. Be prepared for the consequences. Jenny, you okay? You look pale, Lucy surveyed her, concern replacing her earlier fear. I'm fine. But this, whatever this is, could change how we see everything. Jenny clutched the photograph, determination warring with dread. They were just two friends, but now they were bearers of a legacy, one that held both beauty and pain. What should we do now? Lucy asked, her tone shifting as hope crept alongside her worries. Jenny closed her eyes, visions still swirling in her mind. We need to dig deeper. There's more to uncover here. Suddenly, the barn groaned, shadows flickering ominously as if warning them of the journey to come. And I think we're not alone in this. The haunting realization settled around them like a shroud. In their quest to uncover the truth, they might have awakened more than just memories. What secrets lay beyond the next door, and were they prepared to face them? The silence in the barn thickened like the shadows closing in around Jenny and Lucy. They exchanged wary glances, both feeling the chilling breath of the unknown whispering between them. Jenny's resolve was ironclad, fueled by a newfound purpose, but what awaited them could shatter that fragile heartbeat of determination. Do you think? Lucy hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper. Do you think the truth will bring us together or tear us apart? Honestly? I don't know, Jenny admitted, her heart pounding against her ribs. But we'll never find out if we just stand here. With that, she turned her attention back to the trunk. It was screaming for them to dig deeper, to uncover what was hidden amongst its treasures. Jenny's fingers grazed the brittle pages, and Lucy joined her in sifting through the forgotten relics of their past. Each item they unearthed breathed life into stories, tales of celebrations, sorrows, and the unyielding bond their families had shared through the years. A stack of letters, yellowed and fraying, whispered hopes and dreams from long ago. As Jenny read snippets aloud, she could feel the love and pain radiating from every word. They were like us, they struggled, celebrated, just like our community now. Yet, what lay beneath the surface stirred a mix of fear and fascination. A rust-covered box nestled in the corner caught Jenny's eye. She approached cautiously, bending down to grasp it. The moment her fingers wrapped around the cold, metal latch, a pulse of electricity surged through her, igniting her courage. This would be their turning point. Let us see what's inside, she said firmly, but just before she could click open the latch, the barn door swung open, a gust of wind following the entrance of a figure who stepped into the flickering light. Jenny's heart dropped as she recognized the man, the one who had warned them. Leave this place, he commanded, his voice heavy with urgency. You don't understand the danger you're inviting. Danger? Jenny echoed, fire igniting in her chest. We're not leaving until we know everything. Lucy, pulled tightly to Jenny's side, looked up. We have to find out what happened to their families, to our families. The old man's expression softened slightly, a glimmer of respect in his eyes. You seek the truth, but truths held tightly can be heavy burdens. They can ruin relationships, drive wedges into the bonds that unite families. Maybe, Jenny responded defiantly. But the past is part of who we are. We can't let it go unknown. The only way forward is through. For a long moment, the old man studied them, the shadows flickering across the deep lines carved into his face. Finally, he sighed, very well. But the cost may be greater than you expect. If you decide to proceed, do so with caution. Let us decide that, Lucy said, her voice strong. We want tea back down now. With a reluctant nod, the man stepped aside, allowing them to focus on the box once more. Heart racing, Jenny flicked the latch open, steel on steel creaking to signify access to secrets long kept. As the lid folded back, they peered inside. Nestled among documents was a small, richly colored fabric tied with a ribbon and heirloom. Jenny's breath hitched in her throat, there was something about it this belonged to her grandmother. With trembling hands, Jenny reached in, pulling out the fabric and unveiling a delicate quilt adorned with names, family crests, and memories woven into the stitches. A gasp escaped Lucy's lips as the emotions of the past flooded into the space. Each name represents those who built Elk Hollow, who fought for each other together, Jenny said, her voice catching. This isn't just a quilt. It's our legacy. The old man, standing watchful, nodded, his stern expression now softened. Yes. A legacy of strength. But also a reminder of what they faced, the disputes, the hurt that sometimes came between them. It can serve as a bridge or a wall. Lucy traced the intricate patterns. So we honor this, and we honor our differences. Yes, Jenny affirmed, gaze locked with the old man's. We will face the truth together. Not as enemies, but as community. We need to share this with everyone back in town. The shadows around them began to fade, a warm feeling washing over the barn as if the very essence of their ancestors was wrapping them in a protective embrace. They felt the past merging with the present, urging them toward an inspired future. With determination rallying their spirits, the three of them walked out of that barn side by side. After a night filled with danger, revelations, and newfound commitment, they headed toward Elk Hollow, ready to ignite a spark of hope. As dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky with shades of pink and orange, the community began to awaken around them. Families were already outside, nestled beside remnants of what the storm had tried to take. Together. Jenny exclaimed as the warmth of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air. We're getting everyone together. We have something to share. And as word spread, neighbors came together, burdened by their struggles yet illuminated by the promise of unity and understanding. The quilt, with its stories, would weave them into a family, a new one that embraced the past but stood firm for the future. The storms had tried to tear them apart, but no tempest could shift the love that held them in place, rooted deep in the soil of Elk Hollow. Standing together, hand in hand, Jenny and Lucy shared a glance filled with hope, knowing that they had written a new chapter, not just for themselves but for generations to come. With affection stitched into the very fabric of their community, a future brighter than any storm awaited them. And together, they would weather whatever came, forever tied in friendship, forgiveness, and love. This was the moment for Elk Hollow. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share your reactions and feelings about this incredible journey in the comments. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.